Okay. Welcome back. If you're watching now, or if you're watching in the future, welcome back. We want to start a series of live videos because we don't feel like we don't do enough live videos. So we want to start a series of live videos where we're talking about retirement and early retirement and fears and preparation, all the things that kind of go into that. If you've been following us for any amount of time, you know that we decided to retire early and make a life outside the United States. We realize that's not the best option or an option for everyone. But today we want to talk about fears and the anxiety and the things that you have when you're deciding to retire early. So first,
Early retirement. Why are people afraid to retire early?
well, LaShawn, since I didn't actually say, hey, LaShawn, um, early retirement and why do people fear it? Um,
I would say one of the reasons.
mhm.
I'm sorry,
No,
I
go
didn't
ahead.
mean to. One of the reasons people don't want to retire early because they feel like they may not have enough money.
Yeah, and of course, that's a very legitimate fear, obviously. If money is the issue, then there's a good chance that either you started preparing a little late or you haven't prepared at all. Or you just got the bug in your head, like, "Hey, I want to retire early now," and you hadn't really even thought about it. You could have done something like me and retired like almost 20 years early, um, or something you might have been thinking about for a while. You might actually be prepared for, uh,
Or you have it and you
and you still still
still
fearful.
afraid.
Yeah. So of course, with everything comes preparation, and you have to ask yourself, depending on the lifestyle that you lead already, and hello,
Hola.
um, depending on the life you lead already, will help you determine how much you need. And of course, I want to start out by saying we are not financial advisors. All
No.
right, we will not be giving financial advice. The only advice we can give is the advice of, hey, we made this mistake. We want to let y'all know you might not want to make the same mistake. When it comes to maybe like certain investments and things of that nature, that's out of our league. But yeah, we can definitely talk about mistakes.
Or how to
Yeah,
prepare
how to prepare.
if you want to try to
Right.
retire early.
You got to come up
Some
with
of
a
the
plan.
things you can do,
Yeah,
yeah. And definitely planning is one of those things.
absolutely. Um, so yeah, like I was saying, to keep yourself from being afraid to do it, you have to find out how much you need based on your lifestyle. So if currently your current lifestyle doesn't allow you to have much leeway in with your income, if everything is
Pretty
money
tight.
right, if money in is almost the same as the money out, and you're thinking about retiring, you got to remember, like, okay, how much of that stuff is going to remain if I don't have that same steady income. And I'm talking about if you are maybe getting retirement or not, um, how much of that can you maintain? Can you maintain 4 car payments if that's what you were doing? Because we know people like that. Um, do you even need that many vehicles, especially if you're not going to be working? Um,
Yeah, you can only drive one car at a time
right,
anyway.
right. And if you can't afford to get one fixed if something happens, then like you're not in a situation to not work to begin with.
Right. So that the second reason would be lifestyle.
Your
You
lifestyle,
know, if you have this lavish lifestyle, um,
and even if you don't consider it lavish, someone else might. Someone else might consider it lavish.
you want to know, like, if you decide to retire, are you going to be able to maintain that lifestyle, or are you going to have to make some changes? Are you going to have to downsize? When he was talking about the 4 cars, are you going to downsize to 2 or 1? If you're in a 5-bedroom house and it's just you, are you going to stay there?
Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying that if it's paid for, that's one thing. But if you're paying a mortgage and it's you're retirement or your savings doesn't cover the mortgage and all the other bills that come with it,
Right.
you may need to downsize.
Right, and that was something that we had to consider and do. And fortunately for us, our kids have been grown for a while, and we were able to just kind of sit back and say like we don't need this, we don't need this.
We didn't need a lot of
Right,
stuff
I didn't
because
need.
we had
I
a
didn't
lot
need a
of
bigger
stuff.
boat. You know what I'm saying? I didn't. We didn't
Yeah.
need more than 2 vehicles.
And plus, you know, when your kids move out and they have their own lives and they may not want your house. You know, they may want their own house and they have a particular house that they want and your house is not it.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
you know,
So yeah, some of that lifestyle stuff that you have to adjust is not projecting what you want onto your kids, because your wants and the things that you think that your kids want, it might be totally different.
totally different.
Right. So holding on to things is just not always the best way to go, unless, you know, and I think it's something we're going to be talking about later, but unless you're going to have like, you know, family come together where everyone lives on the same property or something like that.
Family
and
gatherings.
everyone shares and everything. That's different. But yeah, if you're looking at retiring and your lifestyle is such that if you retire, you can't maintain some of the things that you like if you like to golf, but you want to retire and for whatever reason, like, yeah, I might have to cut that hobby out. Well, then that's something you got to take into account.
But most people are not going to cut out golf.
Right,
They
yeah.
will cut something
They'll
else.
figure out a way to make
Because
that work.
golf is like a hobby. You may need that,
Yeah.
you know, to
Yeah,
hit.
but so is fishing.
you- Anyway,
Fishing can be cheaper. It can be really expensive. Don't get me wrong.
but some people don't like fishing.
Yeah, I know we love fishing though.
But we're not talking about us. So with that comes with making some changes
Yeah.
to your lifestyle. Now another top thing is inflation. Why
Yeah.
people don't want to retire, and
Yeah.
totally understand that, especially the inflation that is happening in the U.S.
Yeah, because if there's one thing I do know, I'm not a financial advisor, but I do know that money now is worth more than money in the future. All right. So if whatever your income is, or whatever you think your income is going to be, when you retire, you got to remember that, like, keep that number in mind, because that number is going to be worth less in 10 years. All right. Know that, like, when we made a budget, when we decided we were going to stop working, we had a budget and the budget was like low. And we said, okay, can we make it work on that shoestring budget? Can we still live? Well, the only way to do that was to move to another country for us. Like I said, some people's retirement and pensions and all that other stuff covers everything. But if your lifestyle and inflation are a factor, you know, you got to keep that in mind, because the money you're banking on now might not be worth that much in 5 or 10 years, especially if you're retiring early. And, you know, you got another 30 years to enjoy your life. You got to think about, like, okay, how much is this going to be worth
Right.
in 10 or 15 years?
So,
And I'm sorry, one more thing about that. Like she was just saying, be willing to make changes, because there are things that I definitely gave up when we decided to do what we did. I gave up a car, number one.
oh my gosh, what
I gave up as many video games as I was playing.
Oh my goodness. Don't make me roll my eyes. But anyway, so for the people that are able to retire, what is keeping them from retiring?
So you mean like
I'm 65 and
she's not 65.
I'm 65 and now I'm able to retire. But why? What is the reason why I would not
Well,
want to retire?
several. One, the retirement income that you're expecting just isn't enough to sustain your situation, your current situation. Most people at 65 don't necessarily want to go to like a retirement home because they feel like they're too young for that.
But not only that, sometimes those retirement homes
Or communities, I'm sorry, retirement communities.
Yeah. See, you got me. those retirement communities don't offer the same thing you have living in your house. You know,
Yeah.
it's a smaller space. You
There are things you give up. A lot of
yes,
things you give up.
but you get services. You're supposed to
True.
have amenities when you're living in these
Yeah, but
retirement
they're still not
communities.
affordable. They're pretty expensive.
Yes, we did sell our house when we decided to retire early
Yeah.
because we didn't want to have a management company to oversee the house. We didn't want to deal with some people going in your home, destroying it because it's not theirs, and you have to spend that money to keep it up,
And
have
just
the upkeep of it.
yeah, and we didn't want to because of like where our house was. It would have been easy to rent. That wouldn't even been an issue in the least. But
I can
we
see
didn't
myself
want
doing
to we didn't want to be like landlords from another country. Even if we had a management company taking care of it, we just didn't want to deal with it.
And I probably would have been upset to go back and.
Something was wrong, or they tore up our garden or something like.
I mean, it wasn't even about the garden. It's the house. Like, if I go
Yeah.
back and the screen door is torn off, then they done messed up all the blinds in the
Yeah,
house.
and the carpet upstairs and like tore up the wood floor or whatever.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
No.
We just
Yeah.
didn't.
I didn't want that stress. We
Right.
don't want the stress. That's
Right.
another thing. Do you want to continue to have that
Right.
type of stress when you retire?
Yeah.
No.
The main thing about us, like she said, about like giving up things in your lifestyle and what you wanted to change. One thing we were definitely willing to change was stress. We didn't want any, and that's the reason that one of the main questions we get a lot when we meet people here. They ask, "Well, what do we do?"
Nothing. So, and I smile like nothing.
We live for a living. That's pretty much it. And yeah, we may not have the money that some people have, but we definitely don't have the stress of having to clock in and whatever.
It's not about the money. It's
Yeah.
about I don't have the stress.
Hola from California, Johnny.
I am, stress free. It outweighs
That outweighs money by so much. It can't explain it.
the way of life and not having to get up every morning. He was getting up at 4:30. I was getting up at
15.
5:30 to be at work at 8 o'clock because I had a hour drive.
Yeah. Yeah. So be willing to give things up. I understand that some folks, if you do own a home, it may be hard to give that up. Just whether it be because of you may not be able to sell it for as much as you want, or because you want to maybe pass it on, you want to hold on to it, whatever the reason is.
Yeah.
Or it might not even be paid off and you want to pay it off, who knows. But whatever that is, like if you are willing to sell it and make a really good profit off it, there's nothing wrong with that option. If you want to retire and maybe move out and have it as a rental property, that's fine too, because
Yeah,
it's
that
going to
has-
make you money. It's going
yeah.
to make you passive income. I just didn't want to split. If I was going to make passive income, I didn't want to split it with nobody. She don't either. So
Don't put me
I
in-
know you.
Whatever. Okay, so the next thing is retirement income is not enough to sustain a regular living situation, nor, as we said, living in a retirement community. So you get your retirement,
Yeah,
and it's not enough,
yeah,
and you're like, I
And-
gotta work another. Either you continue to work,
yeah.
or you retire, you get that little bit of money, and then you go and get another job.
Yeah, but you don't get Social Security. So let's talk about that real quick. And Jamie, look, I wish like my stress level's gone, but my hair ain't growing back. So I had it cut off since 2013, but that's awesome. I wish it worked in that. I wish it worked like that for me, honestly. I wouldn't even know how to go get a haircut now. But anyway, let's talk about Social Security real quick. Because if you don't know, if you get Social Security, or I'm sorry, if you're planning to retire and get Social Security, they take like the last 3 years of work and use that to calculate your Social Security. So now don't quote me on this, or we were on the website trying to research this, and I looked it up a few years ago. But anyways, from what I understand, they take the last like 3 years. So if you have a very like high paying job and you're retiring, you're at 65, you're like, I'm gonna leave it at 65 or even 67. And you say, well, you know what? I'm gonna keep working. I'm gonna retire from this job, but I'm gonna keep working until like 70 and then get Social Security because I'm in great shape. Well, the job you take is like a little part-time job or a job that just pays, not nearly what you were making at your job that you retired from. And you decide to do that for 3 years. Well, your Social Security is going to be based off that last 3 years, not the last 40 years before that. Which is crazy.
He was so mad when I read that to him. He was like, so I just spent 40 years working, retire, and then go...
Yeah, you want to go work at Walmart or whatever. You
want a little extra income.
And that screws your Social Security, which is crazy. Sorry. But anyway, yeah. So Social Security, like don't mess yourself up with Social Security. If you're gonna work up until your Social Security age, just go ahead and do it. If that's what you want to do. Like don't take a lower paying job in the last 3 years before you decide to get Social Security. I knew I wasn't waiting that long, so that's why we quit when we did. We're like, we're not doing another 20 years. It's not happening. But I'm sorry. What was the?
It's right here. You want to read this? The
Yes.
Early retirement reduces your benefit.
Okay, so I want y'all to just hear this real quick. All right. This isn't. If you're a mathematician, this will make sense. Hold on, Johnny. Thank you so much. Thank you. That's our first super chat. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Seriously, you've been with us since the beginning, so we really appreciate that. Like honestly, I wish I could like send you a card or something. So listen to this and tell me how convoluted this is, and this is why the Social Security system is so jacked up. So this is early retirement reduces benefits. In the case of early retirement, a benefit is reduced 0.05% for each month before normal retirement age, up to 36 months. If the number of months exceeds 36, then the benefit is further reduced 0.05% per month. Basically, what they're saying is, if you work a lower paying job in that last 3 years, you're screwing yourself for Social Security.
It gave you an example. It said, for example, if the number of the reduction months is 60, the maximum number for retirement at 62 when normal retirement age is 67. Then the benefit is reduced by 30%. That's not a little bit, especially if your income is not that much. The maximum reduction is calculated as 36 months times 5/9 of 1% plus 24 months times 5/12 of 1%. Like,
who's supposed to understand that? Who's supposed to understand that? You're just a person working a job, and you read this. You're like, what? How am I supposed to? I gotta go pay somebody, Neil deGrasse Tyson or somebody, to explain this to me. It doesn't make any sense. So let's go back to the list, please.
Oh my goodness, that was so crazy.
But yeah, so like this is one of those things where like this becomes an issue when you want to retire and you're not sure. That's what breeds fear. Could you read that one for me, please, sweetie?
I'm sorry, this one?
This one, under Johnny's.
Okay. Yeah. I'm leaving my job early in 2 years. My husband will retire next year. I will work for myself and we will be debt free. Awesome. We are researching where to move to in the world for a cheaper cost of living. Yep. By all means, really do your research. Depending on where you want to stay and what your income would be, and you can sustain yourself, have at it. And
speaking about like our subject today about fear, the fear we had obviously was we've always been, of course, we've been together for almost 27 years. We've been through struggles, but we've had it pretty good, at least like the last 10, 15 years. We've had it pretty decent. We're having no issues or anything like that.
Because he says,
go ahead.
I'm very frugal.
Yeah, she is.
I'm very frugal.
Yeah.
And I can hold that turnip and squeeze some blood out of it if I can.
Yeah. Yeah. So the fear when we say like, all right, we're gonna retire early and maybe move to another country, there's like an immediate fear with that because we've been comfortable for years, and now we have to like really think about what we're doing. But now, being after almost after 2 years of this, we're so comfortable now where we have to really think about. We'd have to put effort into spending more money.
Yeah.
We've gotten so used and so accustomed to like
No,
a downsized lifestyle.
right? Because you don't need all that stuff.
Right.
I mean, when you're in the States, you just feel like you need a lot of stuff. I don't know why.
It's,
But when
it's
you-
almost like peer pressure, but we never kind of fell for that though.
No,
Yeah.
it's just you like. I mean, now granted, I used to like buying stuff. I was a shoe person, a purse, and now I realize like I can only wear one pair of shoes and carry one purse. But I don't even carry a purse now. Really,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's not even needed. It's like,
Yeah.
and when you, if you know what I know, you start off small, and then that purse get bigger and bigger and bigger, and
More
then you just
expensive.
carrying around your house
Yeah.
in your bag because now it's a bag instead of a purse.
There's hot sauce in it though. So, and Julie also said life is too short. It's right here.
Okay.
Um,
Jamie says retiring early is a gamble on when you die, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah. So we all know people, and this is another thing that we're going to get to about health, but we all know people that retire. There's an old saying like, if you rest, you rust. So there's people that are really afraid of retiring because they feel like once they stop moving and once they stop working and stop having like a purpose, that their health is going to decline. People think that because it happens. I think we all know someone that's happened to, and no one wants to be that person. No one wants to be the person that works a job for 35, 40 years, and then a year later, once they retire, they're gone. And that was a fear that we had. It's like a reverse fear. Like we're not afraid of retiring. We're afraid of ending up like that.
Yeah. And so the next question is, how did you figure out your budget for Ecuador? How did you know you had enough? Now, before we decided to move to Ecuador, we had a budget for Panama.
Right.
And so I just took that same budget that we had for Panama and was like, we're going to go down a little bit lower because the cost of living in Ecuador is not
It was a little lower.
a little lower than Panama. And I had to stress to him, this is where we're staying. We're not going above that. Because when you get here, things are so inexpensive, you can eat out every day. You can have breakfast and lunch and dinner and spend anywhere from like $25 to $30 a day.
Yeah, you like $1,000 at the end of the month. Where'd that come from? Yeah, you eating out all the time.
But, you don't have to. You can eat out every now and then, and you just have to stick to your budget and stick to what you moved here for.
Right.
We didn't move here to buy a bunch of stuff and have a bunch of stuff because we don't need a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, and about like how we came up with the budget, it was of course what the main thing was going to be was rent. So we said, okay, this is our number.
Yeah.
And this is the max amount of months/years that we're willing to pay this number until maybe we either find a place or just decide to keep renting, whatever. But once we knew what that number was going to be,
That's it.
yeah, that was it. And then we know how much we spend on like groceries and stuff. We knew we'd have to come down here and kind of test it out to see. But
Yeah, you give yourself a year.
honestly, like 4 or 5 months in, we kind of had it licked. And then like after a year, it's like second nature. We don't even think about it. We definitely don't go over our budget ever. Now of course there may be items you have to buy. That's kind of separate. But making the budget wasn't that difficult, honestly.
Big Mike says, I'm in my early 20s and I'm maxing out my 401k and other retirement accounts, hoping to retire early at 40. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Especially if you're pushing, your 401k and you're maxing it out. And just make sure that when you're looking at it, and you, like he said, you account for inflation.
Jamie also said, I think SSI is based on lifetime earnings. Yeah, it is, unless you mess it up in the last 3 years. So yeah.
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 Just
so
don't.
whatever.
Go ahead.
Yeah, whatever. When you quit that last job, you're better off not working. if you're relying on your Social Security. If you're not worried about Social Security, you can do whatever you want. But if you're like, oh, I'm relying on this number on Social Security, but I'm gonna wait 3 years or so, and I'm gonna just work this little part-time job for 3 years. You don't do it if you're relying on that number.
And Andy says SSI is complicated, but it's based on the highest 35 years of your earning.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I said, we got all the statements, we checked it all out and did all that, and then we started digging into it. Like, well, wait a minute. They say that's true, unless you take something that you earned less than that normal like average or whatever it is for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
It's complicated math. I ain't messing with it.
And so Johnny said, my husband and I are retired at they retired at 63. Best decision ever, and will live well in Ecuador on their SSI and one pension. In the U.S., they will barely make it.
Yeah.
And that's the problem for a lot of people in the U.S. that retire and they get their retirement, they may get their SSI. SSI is still like, I still got to work.
Yeah, because things are just so expensive. Like, you almost need a car depending on where you live.
Yeah.
Depending on where you live, you definitely will need a vehicle. And there's just, there's maybe other obligations. You may have kids, in your pockets all the time, whatever. And that's just one of those things where it makes it, you could be fearful of retiring because you know that you're not going to be able to support the lifestyle that you built up. And that's where you can start having to make sacrifices.
Yeah. And it's just like, it says sometimes people at this age have accumulated too many financial obligations to allow them to retire.
Yeah.
So, if you still own your house, you may not be able to do that.
That's right. There's so many factors that we can understand. We can understand anybody who's nervous about retiring, especially the people who want to retire early. And when I say retire early, I just mean like stop working. They might not be eligible for any kind of retirement, but they have that fear, even though they really want to. They want to live a lifestyle where it's just less stressful, because that just means more than anything, honestly. We understand somebody who's fearful of that. It makes total sense. For us, we were just willing to take the risk because it just seemed like, very worst case scenario, I got to go back to the United States and get a job. Like, it's not the end of the world. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it was just a risk we were willing to take, and it kind of worked out for us.
Let's see.
Should be this one.
Oh, so black women build wealth, agree. We don't need all that stuff. It just weighs us down and holds us back. That is so true.
And we definitely noticed when we sold our house, the prepping of the selling of the house, we realized how much stuff we had accumulated over 20 some odd years, and it was almost ridiculous. And we're not as bad as some people, I know that, but it was a lot. It just was a lot of stuff. We realized that a lot of stuff we hadn't even seen in years. We weren't using. So why do we still have it? It's just holding us back. Kevin said, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Your take on Social Security is wrong. It's based on all the years you work. Yeah, look, I'm telling you, I'm just reading it from the SSI website. I know that's how it works because like I dug into our statements or whatever. I just know that like if you work after your last job that had the highest pay over the last 35 years, they do base it on that unless you work something that you're making less than that. Then
I
they
think
start
it was
to add
$21,240 or something. Like,
Yeah.
if you don't exceed that, you should be fine.
Yeah. But anyway, like I said, I am not an expert in this. So if I am wrong, I apologize.
So, Too Easy Outdoors. Would you say that moving to Ecuador has shown you a different culture and helped you understand less is more? Has it helped you appreciate a simpler life?
Yes. Less is absolutely more. And hold on. And moving here, you see, and this could be the same for anyone if like you're retiring and you're moving from like, I don't know, New York City to like, I don't know, southern Georgia or something like that. All right, the lifestyle's gonna be totally different. You're gonna notice that people are different. So like when we came here, the people are very different. The people are pretty humble, and poverty is on a different level than it is in the United States. So like the poverty, in the United States isn't quite as bad as it is here. It really humbles you when you see it, and you see that the people who are in that situation aren't like,
They really have nothing.
right, and they're still not like
They're not depressed about it.
right, and it's hard to explain. I can't speak for
I mean,
everybody.
I'm not gonna
obviously,
say
but,
they're depressed. Not depressed.
It's-
They're not complaining about it.
Right.
They get up every day, do whatever they need to do to support their family.
Right.
Whether that is walking a half a
Many-
mile to sell food or whatever. They riding a bike. They're pushing a cart selling
Blocks.
ice cream
yeah,
and only making a few dollars, but they get up every day to do the same thing
yeah.
to support their family.
It really makes you appreciate, how people have it and how hard they work. Just for the little that they have, they work so hard, and it really makes you appreciate it, and humbles you a lot, honestly.
And you just see that they don't have a lot, so when you have all this stuff, you realize,
Like I don't need it. Like these people don't need it. I don't need it. So we're at health.
no, you were talking about afraid to stop when they don't want
Oh.
to stop work. They can't retire because they're afraid.
So one thing I want to mention is that I know one reason that some people don't leave their job or they wait as long as possible to like they can't stand up anymore almost is because they think that the job is going to implode if they leave. I hate to bust the bubble. The job's going to be there unless it was your company or something. That job is going to be there when you retire. Yeah, they might have to get 2 people to replace you, but the job is still going to be there. Don't feel guilty about leaving a place. I get it, like you're invested in it personally, but you can't, it's going to keep on going after you. Heck, it might fail after you, but it doesn't matter because you're not there.
Well, when I was working, and I had a supervisor tell me, "Oh, such and such is going to retire. You can just move into their position." I'm like, "How do you know this person's going to retire? Like, how? I mean, did this person say they were going to retire?" And when I asked that person, I would, "Have you thought about retiring?" And she was like, "I can't retire. I'm not going to make enough to retire and keep her house and her car and whatnot." And just like that, the supervisor thought she was going to retire. I'm like, you can't bank on people
Yeah.
retiring when they can't.
Yeah, and Johnny, you're right. Everyone is replaceable. I had no thoughts in my head when I left my job that I wasn't going to be replaced. It's part of life. You got to move on to make yourself happy. That is the number one thing.
Making yourself happy.
You may have less money, you may have less stuff, but if you have less stress, it means more than everything, in my opinion.
And the next topic is health. That's another topic where people are afraid to retire.
Yeah.
Because I need health insurance.
Yeah, you need health insurance, or you may have health problems already. One problem that we definitely have in the United States is that like people, the food in the United States and everything is built to just make you like unhealthy. And there's a lot of unhealthy habits that people have in the U.S. and a lot of countries, honestly. And that's after a lifetime of that stuff builds up. And by the time you're ready to retire, your body may be in pretty bad shape, and you already know this. So you may be afraid to retire because you get that good health insurance, and you're like, oh well, what if something catastrophic happens? What if was a fifth, as I like to say. What if?
And we don't know about Medicare and Medicaid.
Yeah, I
know
can't speak on that.
Medicare A and B and what it covers, but we just didn't want to get to that point where we'll be on that gondola
Sleep, yeah, like the meme of the old people sleep on a gondola. No, when we got on the gondola, we were talking to the dude the whole time. No, I paid too much to get to Italy to do this. We definitely wanted our fear, like I said, because one of those fears that people have is that some people fear of not having enough and having to wait too long to retire. Our fear was by the time we retired, we can't enjoy it.
Yeah. And that's a lot of people's fear.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to enjoy it.
I don't want to. I want to. If I only got 20 years left, y'all, I want to spend it like not working. I don't want to wait 20 years and then only get 1 year not working because then I'm dead.
Black Women Build says that's sad. The idea that some people can't afford to retire is very sad. It is.
And Johnny said, I don't see how people can make it in the U.S. now. Yeah, not on like fixed incomes. It's definitely more difficult, and it depends on where you live too, of course. If you live like California, New York, Maryland, places that are just more expensive, then I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you do it on a fixed income. Down south, certain places, maybe a little more affordable, but still, it ain't free and it ain't cheap.
No, not at all. Especially if you have a declining health.
Yeah, and if your health is declining, you're constantly maybe going to doctor's appointments and doing all these things that you were able to afford all this because you were working, and now you're afraid to quit because of all these things. So all I'm going to say for that, is if that's the point that you are, then you can't go back and fix it. It's too late. But before then, work on your health. Like, some people focus on their job and that's all they ever think about. Focus on your health too. Try to, if you can exercise at all, do it. If you can eat healthier, do it. If you can give up sodas, do it.
Focus on you. Focus on you. That's the number one thing. You need to focus on yourself.
Yeah.
Because, like Johnny said, everyone's replaceable. Because as soon as you fall out or you have a heart attack, they calling a temp agency.
Yeah. Everyone's gonna be sad. Yeah, but you will be replaced soon. So yeah, we definitely. I encourage people, because I've been a gym rat for years. Get healthy. Just get healthy. Next, we want to speak about. Sorry.
What to do
with
your
time. What to do with your time. So we know people that have retired and they just don't know what to do. And I understand for people who have like a busy mind, like that can be kind of scary, just like not knowing what to do, because their job was like the bulk of their mental work and thoughts and stuff like that. Maybe their family too. You take half of their life away. They're not really sure what to do, especially if they didn't have like really established hobbies or things that they really like to do when they were off. One thing that we were able to do between us is that we both built things that in our lives that we enjoyed doing much more than work. So we made sure that like time off was enjoyed. It was enjoyed.
I definitely enjoyed my time off.
Yeah.
I definitely used all my leave. I definitely used my sick leave.
I didn't, because I was off a lot anyway, so it didn't matter. Fitbit, yeah. Yeah, track yourself. Track your fitness. It always helps. Too easy, would you say that moving Ecuador, Sean? Oh, it's the same question. Oh, must have got repeated. Okay. Excuse me. So, yeah, being afraid to sit still. I would say, as a preparation thing, if this is something you're planning on doing, for us, when we were planning on making this move, we already knew the things that we like to do and the things we didn't like to do, and they translated well to the life that we have here. We did not like going anywhere after like dark, unless we were going to a movie or maybe a dinner every once in a while. We didn't do a lot of social things at all. We didn't go to a lot of parties. We hardly ever hosted any. Seriously. Maybe I count on one hand in the last 5 years how many times we hosted something at our house. It was very conducive to how we live now.
Stress free.
Right, because we just didn't involve ourselves with that many people. If you're the type where that's not you, you're very social, well, our lifestyle might not work for you.
But you can always, there are social groups in the U.S., there are social groups in other places, and you just need to connect with those people to find out what works for you and, what type of hobbies that you're interested in. We like to fish, but being here, we haven't been able to because I like to go out on a kayak, and we don't have anywhere to put a kayak right now.
Yeah.
But if that presents itself, definitely I'm going to be on a kayak because I love fishing.
Yeah.
I like crocheting, knitting, painting. Even though I can't paint, it doesn't matter. But I spend my time wisely doing whatever I choose to do. I love baking and all of that.
I spend hours making YouTube videos, playing video games, working out, going to boxing. Just keep ourselves busy. We keep ourselves busy. That's not... And watching movies and stuff. We love it.
Black Women Build says, I have a list of 100 things I want to do in my life. I'll be tackling them hard when I quit corporate world and won't be bored. Amen to that.
Yeah. That's a very good tip, honestly. Make a list of things that you just want to do and start checking them off, and make it a long list.
Yeah, you can do that while you're at work, because I used to do it too. I'm like, when I'm not working, I'm gonna do this. I want to bake this. I want to make this.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, just make that list.
Yeah, find ways to stay busy, and also remember that if you're planning to quit, and especially people who are planning to quit and maybe move to another, and it could be another state, all right, it could be another state, another country, whatever. If you are the type of person that likes to do a lot of social things, make a lot of friends, do things like that, just know that the place that you find that's affordable may not also be conducive to that lifestyle of a lot of social stuff. Could be the other way around. A place that has all that, that has all the social stuff, it's too expensive. So just know what you're getting into, because you might find a place like, this is perfect, it's nice, and the cost is just right, but I can't make any friends.
I mean, you can make friends.
No, I mean, but might not be the friends you want.
No, you could be friends. You just don't have to do the things they're doing. You can do it every now and then. You can control your spending. You don't allow someone else to determine how much you spend.
Oh, true. But like I said, for us, that wasn't an issue because we weren't doing a lot of stuff anyway.
And Jamie says, hi, my watch said I got 13,600 steps on that bus from Monte to Cuenca.
Bus is
bumpy.
Yeah, there's a bumpy roads around here, man. Yeah.
Too Easy said, I noticed that joining Facebook groups that you're interested in helps with keeping busy and making new friends, meeting new friends.
Yes, but be careful, because if you go to a new place, just know that everyone who wants to be your friend isn't really a friend. We just know this is from experience, so I can't speak for everybody, just from our experience, that some people are more nosy than friendly. All right, I'll leave it at that. So yeah, just because you have the one thing in common, you all live in this place, or you all used to work in this industry or whatever, doesn't mean y'all see eye to eye on anything else. So you can join the Facebook groups. We like to lurk.
I don't lurk.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying. Matter of fact, I left a group just because I was like, this isn't worth my time. But yeah, you can join those Facebook groups because you will find people are like-minded in certain aspects, certain things. But just know that those same people might not be like-minded on anything else, and it might totally rub you the wrong way. Experience.
Or you just may hear about something you said later from someone you didn't talk to.
Right.
And you're like,
telephone game.
You know.
I ain't say that. What you talking about? But anyway.
And the last topic would be family. That's one of the reasons
People fear, yeah, especially the people that want to retire and possibly move away, whether it be like another state or another country.
Or they have kids that are not of age
yet.
yet.
Yeah. They can't retire because they got, young kids or younger kids or kids in college or whatever.
Exactly, because they still need their assistance.
Yeah.
They need to come home, and you got to have a home for them to come to.
Well,
You can't be over there.
You don't have to. I'm saying you might want to. It's
I'm
your
not
obligation.
I'm not going there with you. But yes, if you have kids, and not only that, you may have parents.
Yeah, no, that
Your
definitely,
parents may still need your help, so you want to be there for them. You don't want to leave them behind.
Yeah, and I know that that's a fear for a lot of people who want to maybe leave the area that they're living in, wherever they're going. But they're like, I can't because I got to take care of mom and pops. They're going to need my help. My siblings live in another state, or they don't take care of them like they should. And, like, that's totally legitimate. That is totally legitimate. We get that.
Yeah.
We get that.
And it's very understandable.
Yeah. So, also, like, the fear of, like, leaving, if you do have kids. Let's say you have adult kids like we do, and grandkids. There was some, trepidation about leaving them. We didn't want them to think that we were gone, though. You're still here, you're still around, you're still on Earth. We'll still get to see you, but it's not the same. Of course, it's not the same. But if that is a move you want to make, then you have to make. There's going to be hard choices. And if you think you can do something like what we did and not make hard choices, and you're fooling yourself a little bit. You have to be willing to make that choice and talk to your family and see how they're going to feel about it, because they have to understand that, like, look, if we want to be happy, we have to do A, B, and C, but we understand it doesn't line up with maybe what you're expecting from us.
And that you'll still be there for them, be there to assist, the best way you can. But
and it depends on the family dynamic that you already have. If you're leaving and you had like two of your adult children living with you, and you're like, hey, I'm selling this house. So now not only are you like
you
leaving,
put them in
but
a
now
situation.
you put them in a bind.
Yeah. It's like, you got to go kick them out. No.
Right.
You want to try to make sure they are good before you.
You give them every
or
opportunity.
you let them have the house, and why your face?
You might tear it up.
But anyway, you may want to leave them the house, and if they're responsible and they can, pay the bills and pay the taxes on the house and everything, that's an option. And you don't have to worry about some stranger living in the house. Your kids are living there.
Mm-hmm. True.
Here you go.
But yeah, anyway, like with that, when it comes to preparation, prep your family if you are planning to leaving that area that you're living in already, because we understand that that can be one of the reasons that people are fearful. Like they might be thinking in their head like, oh, I want to move here, I want to move there, but they're just afraid to like leave behind their adult children or tell them that they're leaving. And one thing I always say to LaShawn is that, well, the kids aren't afraid to leave you. Why should we be afraid to leave?
They be ready to bounce. Like,
right.
I'm out.
Like if you have a kid that joins the military, like they're not afraid to leave you. They might be gone for 10 years and you hardly ever see them.
Well, they don't have a choice if they join the military.
They had a choice to join the military though, right? They knew what was coming with that. So that's my point, is that we can say that like, oh, we're leaving, but how is it different than if they do it the other way around? It's not. You just have to talk to each other and try to get some.
But you're the parents. You got to be there. They expect
you. I can get on a plane and get to wherever I need to be. Johnny said I couldn't move while I was taking care of my mother, but she has since passed. I do worry about my brother who doesn't want us to move. Yeah.
Sorry for your loss.
Yeah, family.
Condolences.
Family can be definitely a reason to not make a move like that, and that's where, like, if you're taking care of someone, that doesn't that doesn't categorize as like fear, because like that's just an obligation that you have to take care of until you don't have to anymore. Um, but yeah, for the people who have like either healthy parents or parents who've already deceased, what's really holding you back? If you want to retire, if you want to leave, if you want to just
But sometimes it's the sense of moving somewhere alone.
yeah,
Moving, whether it's to another state or another country, even another city. Some people have been in a place so long they don't know.
they don't know. Yeah, they don't know outside anywhere. But yeah, that to me that comes preparation. Like maybe the last 10 years before you decide you're going to retire, like just start traveling and start going to other states at least. Start traveling to other countries if you can. Get your passport obviously, and start seeing the world and start seeing what it is that you're going to be missing out on if you just stay stagnant.
Yeah, but you don't have to move to another country if you want to just travel the states.
Yeah.
Just see the states. It's beautiful too.
Yeah.
You go to Nevada.
Yeah, there's a beautiful place in the United States that a lot of people have never seen. You wouldn't believe it. I'm sorry we got Lane so close to read these, y'all. Johnny said we have to do what will make us happy as time is marching on. Absolutely, because you only get one of these and it goes by fast.
And it's going by fast.
Didn't it seem like it went by so slow when you were like 5 years old and 6 years old? It just seemed like it took forever. And then all of a sudden when you started working and
they say once you get older.
It's crazy.
Trying to get you up there to 99.
Helps can see his son more now that he can afford the plane tickets, since we lived on opposite coasts. Yeah. I would say this is something that's kind of crazy, that like I know there are people out there who have done something similar to us and communicate with their family more once they left. And what I mean by that is, like, once they know you're gone from the country, you end up talking to them more. And I know there's people out there like that, because I'm sure there's people who have live in the States, and they might have family that lives in a different state, kids live in a different state, and they see them at like holidays. They'll call every once in a while, blah 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 blah. But then when that person decides to move out of the country, now everybody wants to talk to them and do video calls and all this other stuff. So yeah, you may actually end up seeing some family members even more when you leave. Maybe because they're just curious too, but they feel like they're missing out on something, I guess.
But it can, it's not an hour drive or a 2 hour drive.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's like, I know you're there. I can just drive there. But now when you're across
the
ocean, it's something different.
Yeah. And one other thing is, like, depending on where you are, like from where we are here in Ecuador, right? Certain parts of the United States are cheaper to fly to from here than from somewhere else in the United States, which is weird. But anyway, so yeah, family was the last subject. What we want to do, everyone, is just do this as a series and talk about the things that we went through and lessons we learned, and talk about certain subjects for this whole retirement series, because we feel like we could talk about Ecuador all day, all night, whatever. It's only going to help a certain section of people, and we want to like encourage anyone who wants to watch, to just do something different. We're not telling everyone you got to come to South America, or you got to go here, or you got to go there. We just want people to do something different and make better choices. If you can,
yeah. and not spend your entire life working, and then when it's time, you're not able to enjoy life because you don't work to the point where you can enjoy life, and then you're gone.
Yeah.
Enjoy life, enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
Because
I'm sorry.
Life is too short. Life is definitely too short, and I'm happy we were able to retire early, because my life was stressful, his like, I mean, I can't speak on you, but it was like we couldn't see each other as often as we like because our schedule was so different, and it has been different for many years. This is the first 2 years we've seen each other
consistently.
Consistently.
She ain't got on my nerves too bad.
And he hasn't got on mine. And so
Poquito.
But like I said before, when you make a move abroad or anywhere, you have to like this person.
Right. And if you're single, then that's a different dynamic,
Yes.
and we can't speak on it.
But you definitely need to like the person.
Yeah.
So I like him. But what were you about to say?
Yeah, James said he gets senior discount, so it's less than $500 from Monta to New York. See, that's insane. That's insane. But it's a thing. I don't know what it is, and I do know if you book a ticket from here, it's usually cheaper though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they do offer a lot of senior citizens discounts. You can get your like whenever you go to the grocery store, they give you an invoice or it's like a receipt of all your expenses, and you can get that back. I think it's the taxes,
the VAT, and then you get a discount like at the store. So like because I had the retirement visa, I would get like discounts, random discounts at the stores. Yeah.
It's beneficial. You don't get the now.
I don't get the senior discount.
I will say you don't get these discounts in the States.
Nah.
When you're 65, that little 10%, is it 10%?
Wow, get some free coffee or whatever. I mean, 55-cent coffee at McDonald's or something like that. I don't know.
Coffee here comes with the meal, so it's free.
Well, thank you. We are a cute couple. I appreciate it.
Our next series will be on finances, and that will tie into retirement. How can you retire with the finances you have?
Yeah, and
what are you willing to change? And
I guess we'll dig a little bit deeper into like how we kind of just budget here. We don't really do exact numbers, but like we just kind of dig into how we budget here and how we manage to stay under our budget.
And how you can do the same in the States.
And it's a lot easier than it seems, honestly.
And where you can cut costs and so that you can retire early.
Don't buy that Gucci belt.
Who's buying a Gucci
I'm
belt?
just saying, somebody out there is buying a Gucci belt. It's a waste of money. Don't do it. Well, anyway, thank you so much. Thank Johnny once again. If you're still here, thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Thank you all for joining us and watching us. We really appreciate all of our returning viewers.
Yeah. So please like the video, subscribe. So his YouTube channel, Heritage Wealth Planning. He has taught me tons about Social Security. I don't endorse his politics, which is which does cross over into his videos. Use free info, ignore the other. Yeah. One thing I will say about anyone you watch on YouTube, us, anybody else, take the good information that they give and ignore anything stupid. So, you're welcome. So, thank y'all once again. Like I said, like, share, subscribe. And we will be back next week with part 2. Bye. Don't forget, that's right. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up.